What's going on? So I just got done watching this, the most shambolic review for Sparking Zero by Mike Hollow. Mike's a great guy, fantastic channel, does a lot of fighting game content, covers a lot of subjects covering fighting game content, and it's always a pleasure to watch. Now the reason I sat and watched this almost hour video because I always know when Mike's videos come in and they're this long, he's got a point to say, he's got something to say, and it's always good to sit back and relax. And it's not often I get to sit back and just take time just to kind of sit down and watch a heavy opinionated video like this. And the reason I chose this one, and the reason I'm talking about it now quickly, and I'm not going to go through the whole video again because I'd like you to watch yourselves, but I'm going to pick out some moments that really stood out to me, and I really want to add a little bit onto that. Being somebody from outside looking in, and I wouldn't say I'm a super Dragon Ball fan, sorry Mike, I'm not like a huge Dragon Ball fan, not in that it's not a great show and I love it, it's just the fact that I never grew up with it. I never had the access to watch Dragon Ball when I was growing up. I was, my background's kind of, I never had access to kind of those channels, just didn't have the means or the money, in the UK we have something called benefits and kind of support and stuff, and my mum never worked, and we had I had 5 other brothers and sisters, so growing up it was very clothes and food kind of trumped anything else. So but that's my kind of little bit of history there. But Dragon Ball Z was never really on my radar until I got way older, and people started saying, oh, here's, I've seen some anime here and there, I watched the Pokemon series when it was on something called CITV, as in the UK, it's like a Channel 3 program. Channel 3 again, it's a UK thing where you used to watch cartoons after you finished school, right? But Dragon Ball was never available, so that was my first taste of true anime, or if people don't want to call it that, was Pokemon. So Dragon Ball Z I never really got into until I started going to a friend's house and watching the entirety of the box set on DVD. And we'd go around there, we'd get pizza in and start watching Dragon Ball, and I was like, man, this is how have I missed this? How have I missed this? And just the whole, and Mike's talked about this before, the whole influence of Toriyama, I believe, his passing and the influence he had on the entirety of a generation. Such a shame that I feel like I missed out on that, but his influence can be felt regardless if you've watched the series or not. But anyway, what Mike's done is he's watched this video by Gameology, I think it is, and the reviewers come on and they've gone on a massive shambolic rant, as Mike likes to put it, about Sparking Zero, the newest entry into the Dragon Ball franchise. Now, why I may not have played every single Dragon Ball game, I take Mike's opinion very, very heavily. I take it, the opposite of, when they say pinch yourself, I take it with a fucking, mate, just give me the opinion, because as far as I'm concerned, I believe what Mike says is true. I 100% agree with everything he's saying, and when he says this is incorrect, it's 100% incorrect. Now, I did read some of the comments quickly as well after this video, and I was surprised that people were kind of one person was I didn't read all of them, but there was a bit of discourse in the comments, a bit oh, what are you moaning for, blah blah blah. I'd say, yeah, shut the fuck up. End of the day, when you're passionate about something and you love something, you want it to be the best it can be. With me, Resident Evil is my all-time favourite game. It's one of my all-time favourite games. Tattoo of it on my arm. I'm sure Mike's the same. So he got a Dragon Ball tattoo. If he hasn't, then why ain't he got one, man? But yeah, just that whole, you just love something so passionately and you want it to do well. Now, I'm not going to lie. I felt like Resident Evil 8 and then the DLC for it I thought it was just hot garbage. I just didn't like it. I played the game once and I thought this is not Resident Evil. This is not how I wanted it to go. For me, I feel like RE died a little bit with Raccoon City when that was taken off the cards. But they just keep going back to it because it just makes the most sense. And I think with Dragon Ball, and I think Mike put it quite quite eloquently in his comments, is that the Dragon Ball fan base for the games, especially, wanted to go back to Tenkaichi, the way Tenkaichi used to be. And I never played the Tenkaichi games. My most experience of Dragon Balls for Xenoverse, the 1v1 fire where you're not in an arena, but you're just facing off and you couldn't go anywhere but up and down. I'm not sure what version that was, apologies. But yeah, I totally agree. And if I was someone who's okay, Sparky Zero's got my attention, which it has, because the massive roster, the idea that this character is strong, this character is weak. If you beat that strong character to weak character, that person who's playing that character is not very good. They need to get better because there's no way that should happen. this weak character should have no chance against that character, and I might give some good examples of that. So I'm going to pick up some of my favourite moments, or moments that Mike brings up, and just add in my little bit there. But that's just my kind of take initially. I totally agree with Mike on this, what he says. Please watch the entire. I'll add it in the video description. Watch the whole hour. If you're a Dragon Ball fan and you're a fan of the Dragon Ball Z games, 100% watch this video. It's common. It's literally common sense. It's 100% common sense. So yeah, we're just going to look at some of these moments that Mike goes through. I want to add my little bit on that I was thinking when I was watching this.
But which one is the second newest?
Well, Xenoverse, obviously. I think the implication there is that they don't look that different. I don't know why he's put Burst Limit there. I mean, Burst Limit is a pretty big departure from the... I mean, it's not even in the same style. Burst Limit's not an arena fighter, so I don't know why that's there. The other three, yeah, they look... There's Raging Blast and Xenoverse, but Xenoverse, even though it's done in an arena fighter style, it's an RPG. Xenoverse is... I would not class Xenoverse as a typical fighting game. It's even more of a... it's less of a traditional fighting game than you would even say an arena fighter is. You fight in it, but it's heavily RPG orientated. So, but I don't know what Burst Limit is doing there, to be honest with you.
So for me on that point, I totally agree, because now Naruto's more my source. When it came to fighting games, anime fighters, Naruto was always my kind of my source. And if you were to take all the Naruto games, for granted now I probably wouldn't be able to pick out which like if it was Naruto Shippuden or it was like Naruto, you know, whatever, because there's been so many Naruto games, and they always tell the story, right? But like Mike was saying, you know, you can put 4 images of 4 different Naruto games, let's say for instance, and someone who with a very, very, you know, dedicated kind of player base for the Naruto games, you know, pick out the runs out of which. But you could always say, well, that one had a RPG style story mode where you ran around the Hidden Leaf village and you went to different villages and you had to travel between villages, right? And you had to jump on different sections to grab like collectibles, and you had to run around and do missions for people and talk to people. But then you go to the other Naruto games where it was literally like a line with battles, and you go from battle to battle to battle to battle with a line. Two totally different games. But when you played them, the fighting was always quite similar, but they were like still, obviously we're still setting kind of an arena, but there was also like that kind of openness to them. Like you could go virtually, some of them you could go anywhere, some of them you fought within the actual world, or some you fought in like an arena space. So for me, it's the same argument. It's like, you know, why make another Naruto game? Because they do well, and people said, you know, you make a certain Naruto game a certain way, people are going to say, what have you done here? You know, just like Mike's going to say later on, and I talked about it earlier, the Tenkaichi series is obviously something the Dragon Ball Z fans are very fond of in their fighting genre. So for me, it's always been arena, like the Naruto arena base, where it's an arena, they hit the wall breaks once, the wall breaks twice, and they're out of there. That is the kind of Naruto game I enjoy. I enjoy those Naruto style games with the battle to battle to battle. I didn't mind the RPG of elements of it, but I still did prefer the arena based. But again, it's the same argument, and it's like, what's the difference? Well, that's the difference. You know, it's not about, it's a fighting game, yeah, but it's always about what else goes into that, not just, you know, oh yeah, here's 4 images of 4 games, and yeah, pick your favorite picture. It's like, come on, man. But yeah, no, 100%.
It's been stuck in a hyperbolic time chamber.
How does that even make sense? Budokai 1 to 3 is different from Budokai Tenkaichi. What this guy did, clearly has never played these games, is he saw the Budokai name, and he just thought Tenkaichi means that it's the next iteration, when it was completely separate. They're 2 different things.
With over 20 different DBZ arena fighters released in the past 20 years?
For those of you that can't see at the bottom there, after Raging Blast 2 is Xenoverse 2. Dragon Ball Legends is an arena fighter. You think Dragon Ball Sagas is an arena fighter? Have you seen Dragon Ball Sagas? Again, I'm not even going to bother going through all of this, because anybody that's played Dragon Ball games can already spot a bunch of inaccuracies. You even put Dragon Ball Fighters up there, which is just, that's current, right? That is in the tournament circuit. It's a very well-known game. It's sold over 10 million copies. You as a gaming reviewer should not have put that there if you knew what you were talking about. But again, you've proven that you have no idea. Burst Limit is not is not an arena fighter, dude. Jesus Christ.
And I think there's another. I was talking about the Tenkaichi series and that, and how it's like a different iteration. Like Nuro is the only really game I can kind of come off, but then I could also say that's about Bleach, because Bleach is getting a arena-based fighter, surely, which I've always wanted for Bleach. I've always wanted for Bleach an arena-based fighter. You know, with like, you know, just fighting each other and then leveling up. You're going into Bunkai, then going into Holification, and you know, everyone getting like, just leveling up. I've always wanted that, and I know there's been tons of Bleach games. There's been mobile versions. There's been the DS. There's been the Game Boy had some. It was like, you know, I think PlayStation. I got something like from the mobile version, and you always make teams and build up your strength, and you're always like super powerful in the early game, and it's just to keep you coming back for more. And it's like, cool, yeah, but this is not what I wanted from Bleach. I never wanted that for Bleach. And now that we're getting like was it Reaper of Soul or something Souls? Okay, my mind's gone blank now because I've been sitting here for an hour watching, but it's all Dragon Ball in my head. But like, I totally agree. Like, you can't put all of these together and go, oh, you know, these are all the same, because they're not all the same. You know, you could put all the Naruto games there. None of them will be the same. Some might be some might follow the same kind of trend. Yeah, maybe, but they're always going to have to add new elements or take elements away to make it better. Or, you know, in some cases they didn't make it better. They made it like less than. People went back to the old one. You know, like the latest Naruto game, people were slating it, saying, oh, there's bugs, it's not right. You know, there's OP characters, it doesn't work, so they patched it, big patch, and people praised it like, this is great. The game's coming, the game's back, it's back now. You had the battle royale style one as well. I can't remember what it's called. Is it like the Shinobi Strikers or whatever it's called? You had like they're still updating it now. They're still dropping DLC for it now. You know, there's a player base for that, and they wouldn't be doing that if there was no money in it. And like Mike was saying, they still support Dragon Ball. They're still supporting Dragon Ball Fighter Z, and you know, it's current still. So it's like, come on, it's like. You gotta pick your battles. You know, you're reviewing Sparking Zero. You're not reviewing every other Dragon Ball that's come before it. Review Sparking Zero on its own merits, and I totally agree with Mike. You can't just pick every Dragon Ball game in there and go, they're all the same. There's nothing new. Because you're gonna get someone like Mike, who obviously knows what the fuck he's talking about, and he's gonna cut you down. And I totally agree, 100%. Yeah, 100% agree with him.
I need to talk about those controls, because if you've ever wondered what it's like to be one of the Z fighters, turn elsewhere, because the controls are not great. Dragon Ball is at its best when it delivers on fighting and yelling, and Sparking Zero does have a dedicated yell button. Yelling makes your special bar max out, and then you can pull off bigger moves and Kamehamehas, but it comes at the cost of pacing. Powering up freezes you in place while your special bar fills up, leaving you vulnerable to attack.
Have you never played a fighting game before? If you're doing something that's going to enable you to do a lot of damage to your opponent, there's usually a risk with that. No. If you don't pick the right moment to power up, or if you don't pick the right moment to shoot off an energy blast, you're going to get punished. What, do you want them to just power up and on frame 0 instantly be able to move out of the way? Doesn't really make any sense. Now they do have the ability to teleport, although if that wasn't a feature when you're powering up, I would completely understand that, because if you're just spamming power-ups and continuously going into like your ultimate mode, then you're going to be in your strongest form all the time, and so it's going to make the game very unfun to play. So risk and reward, that's called punishment. Again, you play Dragon Ball Fighter, so I really don't understand why this is a hard concept for you to grasp. If you're referencing Street Fighter, Tekken, and all of these traditional fighting games, then you understand that when you're going for something that has a big payoff, there's risk with it usually. Okay, when there's not a big risk and you get a big reward, that's when people start complaining. The game becomes unfun to play and people spam those things. So that's called a check and a balance. Okay, if you played fighting games, you would know that.
Sure, that's...
So on that part, which made me laugh so much, is when I first watched this and I saw Mike's face change, I was like, fucking hell. I was like, I literally couldn't believe what I was hearing either. It's unbelievable. You know, I'm not going to go through all the examples I could give, but I'll give maybe one or two that I really, you know, I mean, Mike even knows what I'm going to, I mean, you probably know what I'm going to say. Like, again, I'm going to use Naruto as an example. It's the closest thing I can. In Naruto, to get stronger and to get your charge back, or your energy, or whatever it is, I can't remember what it is now. You have to hold triangle and you charge up your energy, and then when you've got over a certain point, it has a line on it. When you go over a certain point, you can access you double tap triangle, because I play on PlayStation. You double tap triangle press circle and you unleash your level 2 attack, and it's like quite grand. And in every move you do using circle, if you're in movement or you press triangle once in circle, it does an energy attack, or like a what's it called, a Rasengan, or a tail beast bomb. If things like, I'm going with this. You're an anime. If you're anime, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to go through all the things. It costs energy, but like Mike was saying, there's a risk to that, because if you're standing still, you've got to charge, and that's when the opponent's like, well, I'm in a position now where I can dash to them like or if it's Bleach, they blink, or Flash Step or whatever, and Dragon Ball they teleport. There's risks. You've got to stop your charge. You can't achieve power for free, and every fighter has that. Now, coming away from Naruto, even Mortal Kombat has that. Geras, he's a character that can stop time, but to get that attack, to get that charge, he has to charge. He has to do it 3 times and then use it. It's a charge. We've seen it with Heihachi in Tekken 8. It just released. He gets an insert. He has to do something to charge himself up 3 times to gain access to his most powerful stance. It's I'm not saying there's much risk in it with Heihachi, but you have to be good at playing the Heihachi to achieve that, because otherwise you just get it and it's useless because you use it once per match. And it's the same with like Bleach. Like, I know the game's not out yet, but I'm pretty sure that, like, let's say for instance, like in the anime, like when Ichigo goes hollow, as a form of reference, he can't keep using solidification because it makes him tired and he can't access it. But he trains it and he gets stronger and he uses it for longer periods. It's the same concept. A character has to have that time to Bankai. Or, charge, Naruto charges his Rasengan in his hand. He has to get his clones to help him. He can't just throw it out. Again, I don't know how many more examples you need, but it's such an L take. And I applaud Mike on calling it out, because these are the types of things, when you hear them, it's like, if you weren't so kind of like, I maybe think like, you weren't so up on it, or you weren't so kind of in tune with kind of like that kind of power scaling, power balance, the checks and balances of games and fighting games anyway, you think these characters get things for nothing, and it's like, every character can just bust out their biggest attack every 5 seconds. It's insane. And that's why, and on another note, while I talk about it, that's why I hated the latest Soul Calibur, because I hated that move where it was like reversal break or reversal edge or some crap, where they could just keep doing it over and over and over and over. And like, I just felt like that's all the game was this weird reversal edge thing. I stopped playing it after a couple of games because I just hated it. I didn't like it at all. It wasn't so. That wasn't for me. Soul Edge is always going to be like the number one, from the PS1. That's always going to be the one for me. The rest of them I can give or take. They're okay. There wasn't. But again, that's just my personal. That's my personal preference. That's just me. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. The scaling, the power scaling, you have to keep it in check. You can't just be like, okay, strong character, boom, boom, one button done. No one will ever play the other characters, because these characters will always be the best. It's just, I don't know. But yeah, you know where I'm going with this. But yeah, that's my point on it. But yeah, I applaud Mike for calling that one out. And this is my final point I want to just kind of touch on. And I thought this was such a great like kind of cut, because I never seen this, because I don't follow the channels that kind of really cover Afro Senju anyway. I don't really follow that. I don't follow Afro Senju, but what Mike does is he cuts Afro Senju and from this comment that's made here by gameolgy, I believe. And for me, it's like, as a fan of a fighting game and seeing someone else's passion and excitement for a game that I don't play gets me excited and gets me really like into it, that I'm like, I need to be a part of this. I want to be a part of this. Let me into your world, please. Let me in. Let me taste. Even if I'm dog shit, let me in. Just I want to taste greatness. And this for me really, it puts a smile on my face. I get goosebumps watching it, and that's what I fucking love so much. Let's just watch this little bit. It's so good. My final point on this.
There's so much more to mine there that going back to Arena Fighters for another release feels like a step backward.
Have you seen the pre-orders for this game, dude? What are you talking about? This part of the segment was called, well, this particular segment was called Give the Dragon Ball fans what they want. They've given us what we want. Have you not seen the overwhelming positive reaction that this game has received? This is what people have been asking for. Have you not seen the way people reacted when they first announced it? Afro Senju almost had his dick pop out his pants. He fell out of his chair so fast.
Yo, bringing this shit back is crazy.
can hear the crowd as well.
Ain't no fucking way! Ain't no fucking way! Ain't no fucking way! Buddha got the KC4! Bro! I'm gonna pass out! I'm gonna pass out! Bro!
The crowd, look at the crowd though.
Explain to me how you think you can just do that? Who the fuck said you could do that?
Dragon Ball games have
Bro!
been more popular than ever right now.
Bro! Is my out?
I remember when I saw it, I was like, whoa. I was like, are they really doing Tenkaichi 4?
Amazing.
If I could go into my group chats and go back years and years, I'm telling you, you would find me saying, where the hell is Tenkaichi? Where the hell is Tenkaichi? So much so that I wanted another working copy of Tenkaichi 3 because my original one stopped working. You know, scratches on the PS2 disc, you lend it to the wrong person. And you can't
Horrible
get
when
it
it
in
happens.
the UK for anything less than like £80 to £120. It's very expensive over here. I had to go
And I work at CEX, and it's like, yeah, when it comes in, it comes in, and people get that quick. Like, but yeah, that's my kind of my last point I wanted to make, and I really think you should watch the entirety of the video because I've really just taken points out that I kind of like really wanted to kind of highlight. And I know this video is long already, but I just think it's so important that when you get somebody to review a game, that they're reviewing the game. They're not reviewing past games and then saying, go play the other game. You know, like I heard it before on someone done the review of Metal Gear Solid Delta demo in Tokyo Game Show, and they said, "Oh, don't worry about playing Delta because to be honest, you could just play the collection. And you get 2 other games with it. Does the same thing. Nothing really changed. The graphics are better. That's about it." It's like, get the fuck out of here. Like, if you're and he said the only people that ever play it are true Metal Gear Solid like fans, like the fanboys essentially. And it's like, is that a bad thing? Like, is that a bad thing, sir? That you wouldn't want like people like Mike, say, and Afro Senju who love the Dragon Ball series, that they wouldn't want to come out and support a game that they've been waiting for years. And I'm not like I say, I've already said, I'm not a massive Dragon Ball fighting game follower. I don't know all the games. I can't talk to you about lore and character relationships and stuff like that. But I'm always down to learn. I'm always down to learn more. And if Sparking Zero gives me an opportunity to learn more about that in a current generation game, and people say to me, this is Tenkaichi 4, this is like the game that we grew up on, as you as a fighting game player, you as a fighting game fan, Boy Man Beard, you will love this game. This game will be right up your street, and I'll give you recommendations, and this is why you follow people like Mike and you listen to their opinion, because they know more about it than your average reviewer, because they're not reviewing it, they're just telling you it's better graphics, but it's been done before. Don't worry about it. Go and play Dragon Ball Fighter Z. It does the same thing, but yeah, and it absolutely does not. And I believe Mike when he says it doesn't, because he knows what he's talking about. And people like Afro Senju probably know what they're probably 100% know what they're talking about. So I have 2 million subscribers on their YouTube channel. Those are the people you need to listen to, not the people that review these games and say, you listen to the people that know these games, and I'm talking about the heart and soul of them. So that's my point. So yeah, please go check out Mike, check out Afro Senju as well. Big shout outs to both, and a big thank you to Mike for putting this video out, because I saw it come up on my recommended out to have a watch, and I was sitting back relaxing watching this video, and yeah, 100%. Yeah, totally agree with everything he says in this video. It's a whole hour of just complete and utter, just on point, you know. And yeah, thanks so much again. Big shout outs to Mike. Big shout outs to everyone else. Thanks so much, and yeah, catch you later. Nice one.